On Tomorrow's World Today, we explore the cutting-edge advances that are shaping 4 different worlds. The world of inspiration, where the wonders of the natural world amaze and inspire us. The world of creation, where ideas come to life from traditional arts. The world of innovation, where ideas and inventions move us all forward. The world of production, where innovations are mass-produced to improve our lives. From Inventionland World Headquarters, here's your host, George Davison.
Picture this, the aroma of fresh coffee, wafting through your home, pulling you out of bed with a smile. This American morning ritual, it's been waking us up for over 170 years. But behind our comforting brew lies a story of grit, secrets, and reinvention. In the 1850s, a young carpenter, James, he joined the California gold rush, but instead of mining gold, he struck a different kind of fortune, coffee. Back in those days, people would bring green coffee beans home, and then they'd have to roast them and grind them in a tedious and smoky process. By the 1860s, his company was born, delivering pre-roasted, ground coffee ready to brew. His focus on a reliable, high-quality product helped build this consumer trust and set a benchmark for this industry. From there, iconic jingles like "the best part of waking up," it wove coffee into our hearts, blending nostalgia with innovation. Coffee's gone from gold rush to grit to a morning ritual that's now an industry of over $200 billion. So I'm gonna send Greg to the world of production out in Orville, Ohio, to explore the science behind the taste of making consistent coffee through a process called cupping. How do they produce that same taste again and again? Stay tuned, you'll want to savor this one.
175 years ago in San Francisco, California, James Folger founded J.A. Folger & Company, purveyors of fine coffee. And almost 200 years later, Folger's coffee is still going strong. Now, some things are a little bit different. For one, their main roasting facility is in New Orleans, and they are now a member of the J.M. Smucker family of brands. And that's why we're here at Smucker's HQ in Orville, Ohio. We're going to meet with Emily Lucci, who has the coolest title ever, Vice President of Coffee, to discuss the state of one of America's favorite beverages today and in tomorrow's world. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Greg. Welcome.
Thanks. It's great to be here. So, Emily, coffee, it seems to be everywhere. It's ubiquitous. Everybody enjoys a cup of coffee in the morning. Is it as popular as I think it is?
People are loving coffee across the day, whether that be in the morning as a calming wake-me-up, whether it be in the afternoon as a pick-me-up, or even in the evening as a treat for themselves.
Okay, so we've come a long way from that, like cup of joe in a diner, to something that people are experiencing together, maybe through all parts of the day. What about the coffee industry itself? How is that going?
According to the National Coffee Association, consumption here in the U.S. is actually at an all-time high in the past 20 years. And when we think about daily coffee consumption, 67% of Americans have a cup of coffee every single day. When you equate that then to what does that mean? That means almost 465 million cups of coffee every single day, which is enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool almost 44 times.
Wow, well, anybody that knows me knows I would take a swim in that pool. I'd really like to find out more now, though, about the history of Folgers itself. Can we learn about that?
Absolutely, follow me.
Tell me about James Folger. How did he get his start?
He actually was lured to San Francisco as part of the gold rush in 1850 at the age of 15.
Wow, so he went out to California to strike it rich like everybody else, but I guess that didn't quite work out the way he wanted it to.
Exactly. Once he got there, he realized he would have a much more fruitful opportunity by owning and operating his own coffee mill.
Okay. Well, what are some of the innovations that he brought to the industry that are maybe still in practice today?
At that point in time, Americans' experience cup-to-cup of coffee was very, very inconsistent, and he wanted to ensure that consumers had a very consistent experience. So he focused on sourcing of the beans, so focused on Central America, making sure he could source the beans that he wanted for a consistent cup, and then blending the beans to, again, ultimately ensure that it'd be consistent after they all came together. And then at the end, he really wanted to make sure it was transportable. And so he actually put the product into a metal tin with a foil seal and a reusable lid.
Excellent. Well, we've learned a bit about the man. Now I want to learn a little bit more about the brand. Tell me about Folgers as a company.
We actually have a mini supermarket here that I'd love to take you to have that conversation. Follow me.
Well, Emily, aside from the coffee can, which is an amazing innovation, what are some of the other things that Folgers does to differentiate itself?
Well, we have a relentless focus on the consumer, and as their preferences continue to evolve, we want to evolve right along with them, whether that means through different flavors, different forms, different experiences, or even different temperature states. We want to make sure that we're delivering them a cup of coffee that fits into their daily lives.
Okay, well, it's got to be really difficult to maintain that relevance in a world where now there are lots of different coffee brands and a lot of coffee-like beverages out there, but Folgers seems to be doing it.
Yeah, so for 175 years, we've built trust with people for generations, and so we want to make sure that we're continuing to deliver that through that consistent experience, through the quality cup of coffee, and doing so at an affordable price to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to participate in what we're offering.
Is there any way that I can get a look at the actual process?
Yeah, let me take you to the coffee lab and you can meet Jim. Follow me.
I'm at the Folgers Testing Lab in Orville, Ohio to meet with Jim Trout, Vice President, Research and Development, to discuss the process of cupping. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Greg, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm super excited to be here. Now, in talking with Emily, the testing lab, it seems, is really the heart of the Folgers operation. I'd really like to get a look at that process.
That's right. That's where the magic happens. Let's go and meet the team. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Hi, Jim.
I'd like you to meet Greg.
Greg, nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome to the Green Coffee Lab. This is where a lot of the magic happens. We do quality assurance in here. We grade coffees from around the world. And Steve and his world-class team of experts make it all happen. So while we talk a little bit about the operations of the lab, Steve is going to prepare the next table for us.
Well, let's talk about the operations of the lab. What are some of the scientific methods that you have in place here to help you maintain that consistent taste and flavor that you're known for?
Absolutely. Well, when all of our shipments that come in get sampled, okay, and we bring those beans in, and what we do is we start by grading the coffees for physical appearance and various physical attributes. Then we move into roasting the beans, we grind them, and then we prepare them to taste in a process that we call cupping.
Now, preparing that taste is really the key here, because we're talking about, basically a single ingredient beverage, but we're talking about different countries. And most countries only have a single season for growing coffee beans. Some of them closer to the equator might have two. But you have to take these sort of disparate flavor profiles and put them all together to become the one thing that you're looking for with Folgers coffee.
That's exactly right, and that's a big part of what we do. So many years ago, we went around the world to all the different countries we buy from, and we catalog them and we assign scores to those. And we put those into different groups depending on what purpose we wanted them to serve. We can then take those individual groups of coffee and we can roast them to maximize their contribution to the blend. Just like a chef might create a stew where they have a protein, say beef, they may have vegetables, and they have a stock. Each of those are going to be prepared a little bit differently so that they maximize their contribution before they're all put together to harmonize for a great product. And that's the same way we think about coffee here at Folgers.
Now, how about the tasting itself? How do we get to the final product and what it's going to taste like?
Right. Well, we use a process we call cupping, and I'd love to walk you through that right now.
All right. So what's our first step?
Okay. Well, let me talk a little bit about how we prepare the table. What we do to set this table up is the coffees are roasted, they're ground, and then they are put into glasses. We add hot water, we stir them, and then those steep for around 3 minutes or so. And then we strain them to stop the extraction, and that results in what you see in front of you right here. So these beans are Colombian beans that we're going to be cupping today, and you can see them laid out in front of us. These are unroasted beans, and you might notice they have a little bit of a green color to them. So the industry calls this green coffee. It's unroasted coffee. And then after we do the initial roasting, we see what they look like here. So this helps us as we do the cupping to understand, is there anything maybe a little bit odd going on? We can look at the appearance and perhaps get some clues. These coffees both look very nice that we're going to be tasting today.
Okay, well, what's the first step in the cupping process?
So grab a spoon. And what we're going to do is something that's a lot of fun. We're going to dip into each cup and we're going to slurp it really loud so we can get lots of air in our mouth and we can really taste those volatiles.
All right.
What we're looking for here is consistency across these cups to see how consistent that blend is. So what did you think?
Well, very bright, a little bit citrusy. But to be perfectly honest, and I don't know if it's that I don't have a sophisticated palate, but they all tasted very similar, very much the same.
Well, you're spot on. These are really consistent. This is a classic Colombian profile. These are great coffees, and this is definitely something we're going to use in our products.
Now, I know that the cupping process has been around for quite a long time. James Folger himself actually introduced this to the company. He brought it over from the wine industry.
Right.
But what are some of the new technologies or innovations that you're using to maintain that consistency today?
Well, creating coffee flavor is all about how you apply heat over time, and when you apply that heat, how fast you apply that heat. And we've really mastered that over the years to create proprietary roast profiles for our products. And we've also noted that there's really over 1,000 compounds that, in a cup of coffee that you've created in the roasting process. And we figured out which ones are the most important and kind of in which ratio. So we developed analytical techniques to measure that, correlate that to consumer preferences, and that helps us create new products and prototype much faster.
All of that is really fascinating, but it really kind of starts with the beans itself. How do you know when you're looking at the green coffee that you're going to be getting beans of the quality that you need at that large of a scale?
Well, as we talked about earlier, coffee is an annual crop. So, most origins only have one crop per year. And so if you're north of the equator, it's harvested at one point, and on the south of the equator, it's harvested at the opposite time of the year. And so in order to manage that, what we will do is learn how to substitute across the various countries, north and south, to create the same taste profiles. We do that through modeling, and that's really helped us enable a consistent profile year-round.
That's excellent. Well, I really want to thank you for bringing me down to the testing lab. This has been great.
It's been great having you here, Greg. Thank you.
I'm at Folgers in Orville, Ohio to meet with Jasmine Murphy, Assistant Sustainability Manager at Folgers, to talk about sustainability in the coffee industry. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Jasmine.
Hey, Greg, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
It's good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Jasmine, from a sustainability standpoint, what are some of the biggest challenges facing the coffee industry today?
So coffee is grown between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn along the equator. And along the equator, we're seeing the impacts of climate change really amplified. So things like more droughts, more rainfall in some cases, changing weather patterns where maybe the rainy season is shifting by a few months. All of these things can impact not only the yield of the coffee, but also increase things like pests and diseases. Some of them really thrive when there's a drought or when there's too much rainfall. This has been really impactful to the smallholder farmers that grow our coffee.
Now, you said smallholder. What exactly is a smallholder?
So a smallholder farmer is typically recognized as a farmer that has less than 12.5 acres of coffee land. It's an estimated 12.5 million coffee farmers across the globe, most of them being smallholder farmers. Another issue with sustainability is related to that, where farms are passed down from generation to generation, and that's leading to smaller parcels of land.
Is this a part of the Folgers Best Part Promise?
It is, yeah. So the Folgers Best Part Promise is an initiative that we have to really work on the sustainability of coffee in a multifaceted way. So we work with smallholder farmers through various projects with partners like the Hans R. Neumann Stiftung Foundation or TechnoServe to address some of the issues that smallholder farmers are seeing. Some of these projects do things like work with the farmers to give them training, maybe to increase their climate adaptation or to renew and rejuvenate their farms, which can increase their yield in the long run. Some of them work to form farmer co-ops so that the farmers can have bargaining power and get better access to inputs like fertilizers, or create micro loans so that the farmers have the financial capacity to do things like rejuvenate their farms, which can take a short-term hit on their yield for the long-term output.
How does World Coffee Research play into all of this?
Smucker is a founding member of World Coffee Research, and the work that they're doing is really interesting because coffee is often considered an orphan crop in that they don't have the agricultural research and money behind it that some of the other crops that we're familiar with in the US, like corn or wheat, would have. So World Coffee Research is really working to change that and to get the funding and the agricultural research behind coffee in order to increase the number of varietals and also to ensure that the varietals are the right varietals for the coffee farmers. So things like drought-resistant varietals, varietals that can withstand some of the pests that we're seeing, things like that are really important, and then getting those plants into the hands of farmers so that they can grow them on their farms. They do things like ensure that the varietals that are being grown are the right ones for those farmers in those regions, and also that they cup well and that they taste good.
Right, well, it seems as though Folger's really involved in making sure that the future of coffee is secure. So,
Yeah.
Jasmine, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm at Folgers to talk to Jerome Jackson, Folgers New Orleans coffee plant engineer, about how Folgers plays a huge role in the local community. Hi, Jerome.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. It's good to meet you. So, Jerome, you're based out of New Orleans, and that's where Folgers' main roasting facility is now. Tell me about that.
Yes, so Folgers is proud to call New Orleans home. And what that means is taking pride in making a great cup of coffee every time, one that you can trust and one that has consistent quality. We've been in New Orleans since 1963, and in 2010, we consolidated all of our coffee roasting operations to the New Orleans area.
Well, what are the advantages of being there in New Orleans?
So when we did that, we assumed about 700 employees, and that allows us to have a big family. But because we're in New Orleans, we have a very, very homely family feel. We have families that are working together, say grandparents and parents, sons and daughters, and those families have been with the Folgers brand for over 50 years.
Wow, that's amazing. And that kind of leads me right into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is community engagement. Now, that's been a part of Folgers culture from the very beginning. After the San Francisco earthquake in 1906, I learned that James Folger was handing out free coffees to folks that were rebuilding the city. So how has that impacted New Orleans?
So while Folgers is one of the leading employers of the area, what we really take pride in and where our passion shows is when we invest in the community outside of those four walls. We endured Hurricane Katrina, and during that time, we were one of the first businesses to open up in the region. That allowed us to have stability for our employees, but at the same time, giving them places to stay. We also invested over $1 million with the United Way at the Greater New Orleans region to support rebuilding homes for over 80 families shortly after the hurricane event.
Well, how about during the pandemic? Did that impact Folgers in any significant way?
Absolutely. Folgers invested a significant amount of money to ensure the safety of our Folgers employees. But at the same time, we made sure to support our partners in the community by providing over 2,000 meals to first responders and providing monetary support for our restaurant owners and leaders in the industry that were impacted from customers.
That's excellent. Well, Jerome, this has been awesome. I've really enjoyed my time at Folgers. Jim is heading up to Invention Land. He's going to meet up with George. I've got to get on out here, so do you mind showing me out?
Absolutely, right this way.
Hi, Jim. Welcome to Invention Land.
It's great to be here, George. Thanks for having me.
I was excited you were coming because I heard you were going to break big news on our show today.
That's right. To celebrate Folgers' 175th anniversary, we have a limited edition can with our medium roast, classic roast coffee in it. And we're going to be shipping this soon to stores.
Very nice. Can I hold it?
Absolutely.
Wow. Hey, there's no UPC. Is this a prototype?
It is. It's our very first one, George. You can have it.
Oh, that's a great gift, Jim. I'm going to put it in the display cases so when the kids and everybody come in on tours, we'll put a good story to this.
That sounds great.
All right. Well, hey, I was hoping you could explore a little bit more of the future with me today. Where's Folgers and the coffee industry going in tomorrow's world?
Well, Folgers is relentlessly focused on the consumer. We want to deliver a consistent cup of coffee day after day, a nice smooth profile that meets our consumers' needs. And some of the things we're looking at right now are in the instant area, where we see younger consumers in particular really liking the amount of control that they have with instant. They can adjust the strength. Also, we want to make sure that it dissolves in hot or cold water or milk. And so we developed products that can do just that. In fact, our Folgers Instant Iced Coffee is designed just for that purpose.
You've been doing this for what, 175 years, a lot of innovation coming out of the company.
That's exactly right. It goes all the way back to the Gold Rush era. We were founded in May 1850. And really the original innovation was giving gold miners coffee that had been roasted and ground and put into a tin so they could take it into the hills with them instead of having to take unroasted beans and roast them over a campfire.
That's a big innovation back in the day.
That's right.
Well, thank you for coming in. Well, everybody, that's another edition of Tomorrow's World Today. We'll see you next time. So, Jim, I'd like you to check out some innovations in Invention Land.
I can't wait. Let's go.
We've got these new prototypes. And remember, tomorrow's world is where inspiration and creation drive innovation in production.